माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकं चापि नमामि विद्यै। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। ओम कृष्णाय परमात्मने नमः। Pranams everyone. We are in the second chapter, Sloka number 32. Shri Bhagavan uvacha yadṛcchayā chopapannam swargadvaram apāvṛtam sukhinaḥ kshatriyas partha labhante yuddha midrisham yadṛcchayā chopapannam swargadvaram apāvṛtam sukhinaḥ kshatriyas partha labhante yuddha midrisham. So I think from now on we'll be able to move a little faster in the slokas. 29th sloka 29 almost took 3 classes. So I think from now on we'll move a little faster. Okay, right now what is happening? Bhagavan is actually explaining to Arjuna that you need not feel grieved, you need not feel any sorrow on the basis of Atma and Anatma. So he had given on both bases that Arjuna need not feel any sorrow. And then from Sloka 31 onwards, which is last sloka, he is now explaining on the basis of dharma and adharma. From the basis of dharma and adharma also, Bhagavan is trying to explain to Arjuna that he should not feel grieved. But for that he has to give valid reasons. And in the Sloka 31, basically Bhagavan said, look Arjuna, this you should not waver considering this is your own duty. This is your swadharma. This is your vishesha dharma. This is your kshatriya dharma. What is your kshatriya dharma? Dharma yuddha. And Bhagavan said, for a warrior, for a kshatriya, there is nothing greater than a righteous war. Dharmyadi yuddha shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Dharmyat yuddhat na anyad vidyate. There is nothing greater shreyaha for a kshatriya. So that was in Sloka 31. Now in 32 Bhagavan says, now you should look upon this war as an opportunity, as a great blessing. Why? We'll see. So we'll go to the sloka. Yadṛcchayā. Yadṛcchayā chopapannam swargadvaram apāvṛtam. Yadṛcchayā. We have heard this word, especially in Tamil also. Yadṛcchayā parthe means by chance. Adrishṭavasam. By luck or without much effort. I had not taken any effort, it happened by itself. Yadṛcchayā. Upapannam. Upapannam means which has come to you. Upapannam means that which has come to you. What has come to him? A chance to play in this dharma yuddha. A chance to play in this dharma yuddha. And Bhagavan is going to explain what sort of yuddha it is. He is going to say, first of all we'll see, apāvṛtam, swargadvaram apāvṛtam. Apāvṛtam means which is an open. It is an opening. Apāvṛtam means which is an open. Open to what? Swargadvaram. Swarga means heaven, we know. Dvaram means gate. So gateway to heaven or door. Dvaram means door or doorway to heaven. Gateway to heaven. So it is an open, by chance, which has come to you, which is an open gateway to heaven. That is what Bhagavan says. So he is giving an adjective he is giving an explanation, basically explaining how this war is. This war, what sort of war is this? This yuddha is an open gateway to heaven. Why he says open gateway to heaven, we'll see that. See, who will get it? And he says, this is an open gateway to heaven, Arjuna, and you had got it by chance. Okay. And he says, who will get an opportunity like this? He says in the second line, sukhinaḥ kshatriyas partha labante yuddha midrisham. Partha, O Arjuna, sukhinaḥ kshatriya. Sukhinaḥ means fortunate. Happiness we can say, fortunate we can say. Sukhinaḥ kshatriya, fortunate kshatriyas. Labante. Labante means get. Arjuna, only the fortunate kshatriyas get. Only the lucky kshatriyas get this opportunity. What is this opportunity? Idrisham yuddham. Yuddham idrisham. Yuddham idrisham is idrisham yuddham. Such a war. Idrisham yuddham means such a war. Such a righteous war. So Bhagavan is saying, O Arjuna, only fortunate kshatriyas get such a righteous war, which has come to you by chance. And it is an open gateway to heaven. Why does Bhagavan say it's an open gateway to heaven? Because according to dharma shastras, when a kshatriya sacrifices his life for dharma, when he actually fights for dharma and loses his life in that fight, he gets swarga loka. He gets heaven. And that heaven is called as Veera Swarga. People call it as Veera Swarga. See, the swarga can be attained by many ways. There are certain rituals that are prescribed in the Vedas, which if we perform, we will get swarga loka also. So there are rituals that people can go to heaven through rituals, and the kshatriyas, for them special, they also go to heaven, but not by doing any rituals, but by sacrificing their life itself. They get this Veera Swarga. So Dharma Yuddha is a gateway to heaven. That is what Bhagavan is saying. Bhagavan is saying, look, first of all, this is your duty. You have to fight this war. This is your Swadharma. Now in this process, if you lose your life, it's even better, because you will go to heaven also. Because this is a Swarga Dwaram. It is a gateway to heaven. You will go to Veera Swarga. So that is, and it has come to you by chance. Not many fortunate people get this opportunity to fight a Dharma Yuddha. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. Now this sukhinaḥ kshatriya, we saw that as fortunate kshatriyas. But I said sukhinaḥ also has another meaning called happiness. So we can also move that sukhinaḥ word somewhere else and rephrase the whole sentence. Then we can see it differently also. So instead of sukhinaḥ kshatriya partha labante yuddha midrisham, where we saw that only fortunate kshatriyas come across such a war, we can say, O Arjuna, kshatriyas get such a war. Only the kshatriyas get such a war, such a righteous war, and sukhinaḥ bhavanti, and out of which they get happiness. So we can also reword it in such a manner also. So they get happiness. So kshatriyas who get such a righteous war, yadṛcchayā, by chance, then not only they get the doorway to heaven, they also get happiness. Therefore, Arjuna, Bhagavan says, do not miss this opportunity. That is what Bhagavan is saying in Sloka number 32. Now we will go to Sloka number 33. Ata chetvamimam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tatah swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam abhapsyasi. Ata chetvamimam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tatah swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam abhapsyasi. So, here Bhagavan is warning Arjuna. He says, Arjuna, this is your swadharma, you have to fight it. A kshatriya's duty, swadharma, is to fight the righteous war. That was in 31. Then in 32 he says, not many people get an opportunity to fight this righteous war. You are getting the doorway to heaven, you are fortunate. Now he is saying, in case Arjuna, if you fail to do your swadharma, in case you say, I don't want to fight this war, I know it's my swadharma, but I want to escape out of it, I don't want to fight this war, then what will be the consequence that you will face? That Bhagavan is explaining here. And remember, in this whole Bhagavad Gita, whenever we are talking about Arjuna fighting, we have to equate that to Swadharma only. So, how do we actually understand this? One thing is as a story to know what has Bhagavan said to Arjuna if he doesn't fight the war. But what is the lesson for us there? If we fail to do our Swadharma, what will happen? That is how we have to understand in this Sloka. So every one of us, we have our own Swadharma. What happens if we don't do our Swadharma is what Bhagavan is also saying. So, on the other hand, atachetvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tataswadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam abhapsyasi. So, Bhagavan said, if he fights that war, he gets, if he wins the war, he gets sukhinaḥ, he gets happiness, he gets the kingdom. That is the positive side if he wins the war. If he wins the war and happens to keep his life. But if he loses his life, then he goes to heaven also. And not many people get this opportunity. So that way also he is covered. So Arjuna, as I said, could argue like, look, I am not interested in heaven. I want to live along with these people. Let me not kill them. Let us all live. He is also living, I am also not living. So I am not going, I am not neither getting the kingdom nor getting the heaven, but I am happy with whatever I get. It's fine. So Bhagavan says, it doesn't work that way, Arjuna. If you do not fight this war, he says, not only you will not get heaven, that is okay, but you will also get two doshas. You will also have two problems, two issues here to look. The first dosha is ihaloka dukkham. As long as you are alive, what is the problem? You will be having, there is a problem in this world while you live. There will be a problem. Then the second dosha is paraloka dukkham also. After death also there is a consequence that you have to pay. So there is a consequence that you have to pay both while living as well as after death. Swadharma akarne ihaloka dukkham, paraloka dukkham kim. So what are those two dukkhas? Bhagavan says, ihaloka dukkham is akirti. Akirti means infamy, getting a bad name. Infamy, bad name. Then paraloka dukkham is narakam. Narakam means hell. So this is the essence of this sloka. Now we will go to the sloka. Atachet tvam imam dharmyam. Atachet tvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi. Atachet, on the other hand. So Bhagavan has said, now you have to fight this war. Now if he says on the other hand, in which means in case, tvam, you, na karishyasi. Last word in the first line, na karishyasi. You do not fight. What you do not fight? Imam dharmyam sangramam. Bhagavan is very clear that this war is a dharma yuddha. So he says imam dharmyam sangramam. This righteous war, this dharma yuddha. Normally, sangramam means, we use the word gramam for village. And normally when we say sangramam, it will be treated as samyak gramam, so good village. But we should not understand this sangramam like that. For example, nyasa means renunciation. Sannyasa means total renunciation. So sam means total. But here sangramam means yuddham, a righteous war. So don't confuse this with gramam of the village. So here sangramam means righteous war. So he says, on the other hand, if you don't fight this war, on the other hand, if you do not fight this righteous war, that's the first line meaning, tatah swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsyasi. Tatah, then. Atah, tatah. On the other hand, then. Hitva. Hitva means you will be forsaking. You will be forsaking. What will you be forsaking? Swadharmam. By forsaking swadharmam, your duty, kirtim cha kirtim, you are also forsaking your honor. Kirtim means honor or fame, basically your honor, your whatever you have gathered as a name, you will lose them, you will lose it. And not only that, avapsyasi papam, you will, and it's in the future tense, avapsyasi, you will incur sin in the future tense, which means you will incur sin, you will get papam, and therefore you will get narakam after death. Because by doing sin, one goes to naraka. So in the last loka and this loka, we have references for swargam and narakam. Okay. So where is the reference for swargam and narakam in Bhagavad Gita? You can quote these references. So whether there is swargam or narakam, yes, there is swargam or narakam. Has it been created only to actually create fear in the minds of people so that they follow their duties and responsibilities and there is nothing called swargam and narakam? No, that is not true. There is swargam, there is narakam. Okay. And according to shastras, the papam, here Bhagavan says, papam avapsyasi, you will incur sin. Papam can be divided into two types of papam. Papam in the form of doing what should not be done. So there are certain things that are not supposed to be done. But when we do that, we incur papam. It is called as commission. If we say omissions and commissions, sometimes when we write the letter, we say, pardon my the omissions and commissions. Commission is one type of papam. Doing what should not be done is one type of papam. In Sanskritam it's called as, or in our shastrams we call it as nishiddha karanam. Nishiddha karanam means doing what should not be done. Suppose the shastra says, no, not suppose, the shastras do say, suram na pibet, one should not take liquor. In fact, one is not even supposed to smell liquor. One should not even go near liquor. Even smelling is considered to be a type of papam, although it's a lower type of papam. And drinking is a higher type of papam. So now this is nishiddha karma. If a person drinks, then the papam is called as nishiddha karana rupa papam. So in English it will come under commission, committing a sin, which is one type of papam. Then there is the second type of papam, and that is by not doing what should be done. Basically, avoiding certain things that should be done. For example, suppose we are supposed to pay taxes. To pay is our duty. If a person does not do that, then he is punished. At the time he cannot argue like, I did not do anything, as in I did not pay any tax, so why are you punishing me? I did not do anything is also considered as a papam in our culture or in our shastras, according to our shastras. These are called as vihita akaranam. What is supposed to be done, we are not doing that. That's called as vihita akaranam. It will come under omission. So there is nishidha karanam, vihita akaranam, commissions and omission. These are two types of papa. And that is why, when we actually go to bed every day, there is one particular sloka that is actually normally repeated in the night, which is actually part of this beautiful Siva Manasa Puja that Shankaracharya had written. The Siva Manasa Puja is a mental puja for Shiva. There in the last paragraph, it comes as Karacharana Kritam va Kayajam Karmajam va Shravana Nayanajam va Manasam va Aparadam Vihitam Avihitam va Sarvameda Kshamasva Jaya Jaya Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. So where we are talking about Vihita Akaranam and Avihita Karanam, which means whatever I have supposed to do, I am not doing it, and whatever I am not supposed to do, I am doing it. That is considered, both are considered as papa. So if Arjuna does not fight this war, it will come under Vihita Akaranam. Not commission sin, but omission sin. In our there is another term also for this. It's called as pratyavaya papam. Pratyavaya papam means omission. Pratyavaya papam is all those kind of omission sins. So vihita akaranam is also called as pratyavaya papam. And what is the consequence of this papam? Bhagavan says suffering in this janma, and if not in this janma, the future janmas, or in short, naraka prapti. Naraka prapti evam phalam bhavati. So Arjuna, you may not be interested in swarga, but at least to avoid naraka, you will have to fight this war. See Bhagavan, how many different angles he is saying that Arjuna has to fight this war. And he is giving logical, valid reasons for Arjuna to fight. But some people may say, but I don't believe in punyam and papam. Because punyam and papam happens to be adrishtam. I can't see. Adrishtam means which cannot be perceived by the sense organs. I cannot smell papam or punyam. I cannot touch. I cannot see. I cannot hear punyam or papam. I cannot taste punyam or papam. So that which cannot be experimentally demonstrated. I cannot say, here is your punyam, here is your papam, look at that. I cannot even use a telescope or a microscope to show that, the so-called, this is the punya wave that is now affecting you, or the papa wave that is affecting you. This is not for scientific establishment. The only pramanam that we have, the only source of knowledge that we have is Veda pramanam. Vedas are our pramana. And Veda, I'll send you later on, why we should have, why Veda pramana is very important. Without having the Vedas as pramana, it is very difficult to progress spiritually. Veda pramana is a must. Understanding that Veda Veda is the source of knowledge for everything that... we think that unless I see, I experience, I will not agree. But the reality is, even today, we are not able to experience that the earth is the one which is rotating and the sun is actually in the center. Because my experience, my physical experience shows sun rising from the east and setting in the west. And I don't see, I am not rotating. I don't feel that I am rotating. So I cannot trust my sense organs completely. We believe in science books written by scientists who have actually proved it, and we read that book and we say, okay, now I agree. Because why? It has been written in my science book. Now the same thing is what we say. It's written in Vedas. Rishis have perceived it and they have given it to us. If we want to perceive it ourselves, we should have done that much of tapas. We should have done that much of tapas, just like, for us to be able to prove E is equal to mc square or whatever, if we have to do that, then we will have to have that level of intellectual ability to do that, to come up with that. So, we should either increase the tapas or we should just believe what the rishis have said in the Vedas. Or, it's not the rishis who have said in the Vedas. The Vedas themselves are apāvṛtam. They are all sound waves that have been in the air, still in the air, but rishis, through their tapas shakti, they have been able to perceive it and then be able to give it as Vedas in the form of words to us. Those sound waves or the waves, they have been able to perceive it. They have been able to... That's why rishis are called as mantra drishtas. They have been able to perceive it and then give it in the form of words to us. So, if we don't believe in punyam or papam, it is our loss. If somebody says, I don't believe in gravitational force, and he says, I don't believe in gravitational force and therefore I will jump out of the window and nothing will happen because I don't believe in it. Will he not fall? Of course he will fall. It does not matter whether you believe it or not. It is there. So it does not matter whether we believe in punyam or papam or narakam or swargam. It is there. If you believe, it's your, what we'll say, sukhinaḥ. You are fortunate. If you don't, then it is your prarabdha that is actually working. So, Bhagavan says, so we are told one should not commit papa, because if we commit papa, we will go to naraka. So some people say, I don't bother. If I need to go to naraka, let me go. Doesn't matter. Because anyway, in this life, I am not able to see it. After death, nobody can talk to each other, so it doesn't matter. Or even if we talk, we don't know what has been, who has spoken to what. But people will believe or will be afraid of things that are happening or that will happen in this world. Suppose if I say, you will go to naraka, I don't care. But if I say, no, you will go to jail, then they will fear. Because punishment here, people will fear. You will be caught, you will be jailed, you will be punished, you will lose your job. If we say all those things, then of course that will have the effect. And to be honest, a lot of people still follow dharma because of this fear of punishment only. Fear of punishment or the loss that they may face in life, either in the form of money, power, fame, position, job, relations, and all those things. Only because of that fear, people do lead a life of dharma. So the ihaloka dukkham, or the pain that one person goes through in this life, does have its effect. And if you look at the workings of karma also, karma works in such a way that a lot of things that come back to us in this life itself. Whenever we are feeling sad, whenever there is a sorrow, whenever there is a pain in our life, you just take it as my karma which has my papa karma that I had done sometime in the past is now working now. And I am thankful to Ishvara now that this is getting exhausted. I am going through this because this has to be exhausted by me. I am glad that it is coming and going because I am exhausting it now. At the same time, so whenever we are happy and joy also, remember, this is the effect of, not that one person gives me, nobody else gives you joy or sorrow. Tidum nandrum pirardara vara. The joy or sorrow is not given by anybody else. It is only through our karma. So if we see a joy, if we experience a joyous situation, if we experience happiness, understand that your punya karma is actually working. The punya karma is also getting exhausted. So if we want to have more joyous situations, more happiness in life, we'll have to do more punya. So that is the thing. Now, in this shloka, Bhagavan has said that if you do not fight this war, Arjuna, you are incurring sin, you are forsaking your swadharma, you are forsaking your honor. You are going to have akirti. You will now on the akirti. Here Bhagavan said, right? Kirtim cha hitva. Hitva kirtim. You are going to lose your honor. Bhagavan is going to explain more in the next sloka. Sloka number 34. As in what other loss he will have because of that. So Bhagavan is explaining akirtim in the sloka number 34. Sloka 34. Akirtim chapi bhutani katayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtihi maranadatirichyate. Akirtim chapi bhutani katayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya cha kirtihi maranadatirichyate. So Bhagavan explains in this shloka about, I said akirtim, or here he is going to talk about kirti lobam, the greed on fame. Greed on fame. See, so far Bhagavan has explained, first of all he had explained it on the basis of Atma Anatma we saw. Then we saw Dharma Dharma. Now Bhagavan is explaining basically telling Arjuna why he should fight this war from a laukika drishti, from a empirical worldly angle, from a pragmatic angle, from a practical point of view, why you should fight this war. So let's take Atma Anatma. Arjuna could say, look, I am not worried about Atma, let it be there. I don't want to kill Anatma. I don't want to fight this war because of Dharma, Adharma also. Let me not fight the war. Let me get the papam. It doesn't matter. Papam is only after when I go to Naraka. Let me take up that papam. Doesn't matter. When it comes, I will see. So I will not get kingdom. I will remain poor. I am ready for all that. By not fighting this war, I will not get this kingdom. I will remain poor. I am ready to fight. Let me stay without any kingdom. Let me stay poor. Doesn't matter. Now Bhagavan is going to say, no. That is not the only loss that you are going to have, Arjuna. There is something else that you will lose. And that is fame. And that Arjuna will not be able to accept. Why? Because the weakness of kshatriya is their fame. Kshatriyas love to be famous. This is their swabhava. Kshatriyas, you see, they would want to go to Swayamvara, not because they like the lady or what, but they want to show their skills. They fight wars to become famous. They annex kingdoms because to become famous. They want more and more things to be, their names to be heard and everywhere. And they want their names to last long also. That's why, rulers used to build temples in those days. Of course, they were also great bhaktimans. But apart from that, they wanted to show that their name should last longer also. And even today politicians, they want all their, airports and roads and everything to be named after them. Because they want their name to last even after them. Stadium, even town names, every street, every city in India has got a Gandhi street. So every kshatriya has this delusion on the name and fame. In fact, forget kshatriyas, everybody, we all want to have this name and fame. That's why we want, our grandchildren to take our name, because we want our name to be there afterwards also. We want our photograph to be hanging within the house, because we want, even after we go back, after our time, we want our children and grandchildren to have that photo of ours in their room. So we want name and fame, and we want it to be spread far and wide. And lot of time we don't commit any kind of adharma only because we might get caught, and if we get caught, we will lose our name, and that's why we don't do adharma. What if we get caught and if we lose our name? That is what is stopping us from doing adharma in many times, many places. So this name and fame is, addiction is with us, and even more so in the case of a kshatriya. If we are unknown person in this world, whatever happens, whatever ill fame, whatever bad name I have got, nobody knows. But the moment I get a particular status in the society, a select group of people know me, then what happens? It works on the mind. Any kind of apamana, any kind of humiliation that I am going to face, any kind of ill fame that I am going to get will be extremely painful. I will not be able to tolerate, people will not be able to tolerate. Many people will even leave the city because they cannot be in the same place with a bad name. And most people are only interested in social status. Because all the time, we are all thinking, most of us are thinking, what is the other person thinking about me? Not interested about what I have as an opinion about myself. I am not interested in what Ishvara has as an opinion about me. I am more interested in what the other person has as an opinion about me. What will that person think? What is my neighbor thinking about me? What is my colleague thinking about me? Because I am interested, because when I want to get my son or daughter married, I am also interested in to know what they think. Otherwise, I will not get the right alliance. Those things are also playing in the mind. So there is this always about what others think about me. And it is not that I want to be a good person. Most often or not is, I want to be known as a good person. It does not, we are not looking at how I can be a good person. It's like, if the other person says I am a good person, I am happy. Whether I am a bad person or good person, I don't care. But I want the other person to acknowledge that I am a good person. That is the mind we have, most of us are. And if we lose our fame, the problem is, how can I face outside? How can I face the people? That seems more important. This is all for us. And for kshatriyas, it is multifold. Arjuna is a kshatriya. And kshatriyas have a strong rajasic ego, and therefore he will always be bothered about his social status. And Arjuna was in the peak of fame. If we have Arjuna, he would beat everybody because he's the most handsome, most capable, most brave. He has won more kingdoms than anybody else, more wars than anybody else. He has won wars single-handedly. He has so much of tapas shakti. He had gone to heavens and won war for Indra. He is at the peak in everything. Handsome, brave, caring, whatever you can say. Everything, archery, skills, personality. He had money also. So, prince, what else you need? Even among the Pandavas, he was the most famous. Pandavas themselves were very famous. And that was the jealousy that Duryodhana was having throughout his life. That the Pandavas were getting good name, they were more famous, they were more loved. And even within Pandavas, it was not Dharmaraja who was very famous, not Bhima who was the most powerful, but Arjuna was the most famous. So Bhagavan is warning that Arjuna, you will lose the fame. And he's saying, Bhagavan is saying, you will lose the fame and it will be worse than death. The loss of fame will be worse than your death. And if he loses fame, what sort of mind he will be in, and how will he lose? Should he lose his fame? How it is to be equated? Bhagavan is explaining in this sloka. So as I said, for us itself it is very difficult. If we lose money, if we lose the social status, many of us would not like to continue in the same city. We would like to go to some other place where nobody knows us. Or if a person is really famous, powerful, and then he takes up something lower in the society, he doesn't want to do anything and he wants to lose everything, he would not like to stay in the same society. There's only one person who did that. That was Tayumanavar. Tayumanavar was actually was in the court of the king. Is a powerful minister. He had money, fame, everything. One day he gave up everything. He went into Bhakti Marga, or he was also another one of the Advaiti monks, and he started writing and he became sannyasi. He was actually begging, because he was sannyasi, he was begging for food in the same streets where he was actually once a courtier, in the same kingdom, and he didn't have any problem in that. So that requires lot of maturity, mental maturity and mental strength. And that's why we say, fame, power, it is more intoxicating than liquor. Once person sees power, once person sees fame, it's very difficult to let go. And that's why we have a lot of these depression cases in certain famous people beyond a certain age, because they have not been able to keep their hold on to their fame and power. Now, here, Bhagavan argues, he says, Arjuna, you got such a name and fame. You are considered the greatest warrior in the world. You have won laurels in the earth. Even Indra had called you for assistance. And you often go to Devaloka and you fight wars for Indra. All these glories you have. And yet now, if you have decided not to fight this war, it will lead to a disgrace. And do you want such a stigma in your name? So Arjuna says, so Bhagavan, so Arjuna, and for you Arjuna, you are a kshatriya. Manam is very important. Do you want to live with apamanam, or do you want to fight and sacrifice your life, even if that may be the case? So that's what Bhagavan says. Akirtim chapi bhutani katayishyanti te vyayam. Apicha te akirtim. Akirtam chapi te akirtim. Akirtim means we know. Infamy. Te akirtim means your infamy. What sort of infamy? The last word, avyayam. Permanent. This will be permanent. Apicha. Moreover, bhutani. Bhutani means people. Katayishyanti. Katayishyanti will impute. Katayishyanti means katakyardu. We have seen. Katayishyanti means will talk, will insult you, will belittle you. They will criticize you. They will spread rumors. So moreover, people will impute or belittle you, criticize you, spread you. See what? Akirtimapi katayishyanti. Kirtimapi katayishyanti. Your infamy. And your infamy will be permanent. You cannot erase it. Unerasable. Avyayam means unerasable. So moreover, people will talk about your unerasable infamy. And if Arjuna says, so what? Let them speak whatever they want. Then Bhagavan says in the next line, Sambhavatisya chakirtihi maranadatirichyate. Sambhavitasya chakirtihi. Sambhavitasya means for a person who has been honored, or for a person who has having enjoyed this fame. What is this fame that you have enjoyed, Arjuna? You are the greatest warrior, the most courageous person. The entire Kaurava army feared only Arjuna. You are the greatest warrior. You are the most courageous person. And you have enjoyed this fame. Bhagavan says, Akirtihi maranad atirichyate. Your infamy, atirichyate, is worse than maranat, than death. That shame that you will get while living will be difficult for you to accept. You will feel you will die 100 deaths even before you actually die. That will be the consequence that you will face if you do not fight this war. That is what Bhagavan says in this sloka. So people will talk about your unerasable infamy, and for a person who has had this honorable life, your infamy is worse than death. Moving on, Sloka 15, Bhagavan continues. He is going to still continue about the disgrace that Arjuna will face. Bhagavan continues. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Bhayadṛna druparatam matsyante tvam maharataha yesham chatvam bahumatah bhutva yasyasi lagavam bhayadṛna druparatam matsyante tvam maharataha yesham chatvam bahumatah bhutva yasyasi lagavam. So Bhagavan says, you will get disgrace. Here we have to just imagine. Arjuna could say, look, why would they talk bad things about me? Why would they insult me? Why would they talk about my infamy? They may consider they could praise me for being compassionate. I am compassionate against Kauravas. I am compassionate towards my guru and grandfather. So they could praise me for being compassionate. So if Arjuna has that kind of misunderstanding, Bhagavan wants to clarify here. And Bhagavan says, Arjuna, if you do not fight this war, now because of kripa means compassion, nobody will say that you didn't fight due to compassion. Instead they will say, bhayad ranad uparatam. Bhayad ranad uparatam. They will say you withdrew from this war out of fear. Bhayat. Bhayat we know, fear. So Arjuna, you may think you have withdrawn from this war out of compassion and respect for Bhishma and Drona, but people will not talk that way. People will say that you had run out of fear. And even if they know that you have withdrawn out of compassion, Kauravas, especially Duryodhana's men, will spread all types of rumors. They would want to give any credit to you. They will use this opportunity. Karna will use this opportunity. Karna will say you had run away from him. You did not want to face him. That's what Karna will say. And even a nameless soldier will say Arjuna ran out of fear. That is what you will see. So he says, Bhayat ranat uparatam. Mansyate tvam maharataha. Maharataha means, we had seen this earlier in the Sloka in the first chapter itself. Maharata means great warriors. We saw Atirata, Maharata, all those things. Maharata means great warriors. Mamsyante. Mamsyante means will consider. Will consider who? Tvam. You. Uparatam. Uparatahi. Where have we seen Uparataha? Uparatihi. Uparatihi is one of the Shatka Sampatti. One of the qualifications needed for Vedantic study. We have Viveka Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. Within the Shatka Sampatti we have Samaha, Damaha, Uparamaha. Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. So Uparamaha is there. Uparatihi. Uparatihi means withdrawn. Uparatam, to have withdrawn. Ranat. Ranat means from this war. Why? Bhayat, out of fear. So these great warriors will also think of you as one who has withdrawn from the war out of fear. So the great warriors will think this way. Nobody is going to think or consider that you withdraw out of compassion or respect. And Bhagavan is in the second line is confirming that Arjuna, you will get disgrace only. No fame. There will not be any fame because of it. If you think you are going to be appreciated, that here is Arjuna full of compassion and respect for his elders, and who was willing to give us kingdom and every happiness for the sake of his grandfather and guru. Nobody is going to do that. Yesham chatvam bahumatah bhutva yasyasi lagavam. Bhutva bahumatah. Bhutva bahumatah means having been honorable for so long. To whom? Yesham, to them. So you have been honorable, as in you have been receiving praise and honor from the same people. These people from whom you have actually gained this fame and respect and all this name, tvam yashyasi lagavam. You will come to, tvam yashyasi means you will come to, lagavam means disgrace. So having been honorable to such warriors, you will now come to disgrace. Until this moment, all these people, they were all respecting you. They were keeping from a distance. They were keeping a distance. They were in awe of you. They were fearing you. They were actually jealous about you. They wanted to. Some people took pride that they know you. Some people were jealous because they couldn't become you. Everybody had fear and they had respect, awe, everything. From this moment onwards, what will happen? You will become light in front of them. You will become cheap. You will lose your fame. You will get disgrace. You will go to disgrace in their vision. And therefore, Arjuna, you should fight. So Bhagavan is basically now using, he has seen the Atmanatma, Dharma, now from a laukika drishta, from a purely practical angle. But after the Dharma, he also talked about Papa Punya in between, after Dharma, of what the consequences are. But now he is actually talking purely from a laukika drishta. From a practical standpoint, why Arjuna should fight this war. Actually, he is continuing. Bhagavan is still continuing in Sloka 36 also. He will say, finally, 37, he will close it. He will say, go and fight this war. We will see Sloka 36, 37 probably in the next class. Any questions or comments? Okay. If not, then we will again see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.